Hello, welcome to another podcast. Thank you for being here. We're well over 405 episodes, and we want to thank you all for sharing episodes and for watching and for subscribing and liking and sharing and following. Make sure you do that for this episode too, and all the description will be loaded with this featured artist today. Her name is Alicia Kayley. The thing about Alicia Kayley is that she's an emerging voice in Canadian music. And not only that, she's one of the proud artists from the Algonquin and Tahltan Nations. That's right, she's an Indigenous artist, musician, and we love that. And Alicia blends classical training with contemporary pop, rhythm and blues, and soul to create music that is both emotionally rich and deeply personal. With a Bachelor of Music from Carleton University and performances spanning major stages like Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week, the Indigenous Day Festival in Whitehorse, and Ottawa Bluesfest, Alicia is already making a strong impact. Her debut single, you gotta listen to this, her debut double single, New Beginnings and Don't Break My Heart, released through Crystal Shawanda's New Sun Music, showcasing her ability to capture both vulnerability and strength in her storytelling. As a young Indigenous artist, Alicia is committed to uplifting Anishinaabe women and youth while bringing Indigenous voices into the mainstream music industry. Today, we'll talk about her creative journey, her musical influences, and what's next as she prepares to release her debut album. Hello, welcome Alicia Kayley to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. So nice to meet you too.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Alicia, before we start pounding you with all these amazing, deep diving questions, can you take us back to the moment you first realized music was something you wanted to pursue professionally?
Professionally. Well, thankfully, I actually grew up in a very musical family. My dad goes by the stage name Flying Down Thunder, and he has a bunch of CDs out as well. And so he's a musician, and he also, to this day, still travels around and gets to do gigs. And when I was growing up, I got to be one of those tour babies, where I get to go around and see what gigging life really looked like. And not just here in Canada, but like in Paris and Germany and a bunch of other places. And it was insane seeing that, there could be this whole other life of being able to go from place to place around the world and bring your talents there and explore and really enjoy it and see this whole other side of what the world could be like. And when I saw how amazing that was for my dad and being able to do that with a family as well was incredible. And I remember thinking as a kid, like, I want to do this. Maybe not like in the same way, but I wanted to find my own way to do it. And it's definitely been my own journey and shaping it differently than his, but it's definitely helped me to realize this is what I want and these are the strides I wanted to take towards my future.
Did you think there was going to be a setback for you because you're Indigenous and everything that happened with the schools and everything from the past? And how did that make you feel?
Definitely. I think being Indigenous, and just in general, like there's a lot of no, I don't want to say controversy. I guess it really depends. I don't get to see a lot of Indigenous artists specifically in mainstream in anything really, and a lot of things. In a lot of cases, and people bring up Indigenous people, it's usually something about like some kind of protest or something that's going on because we as a people have had to fight for a lot of things in order to like live in a world of equity, and I think that just that in general having to fight to be heard is always going to be an issue, but I think being one of those people that's trying to bring their voice into mainstream music is going to make it that much easier for other people moving forward. So I think that me going through the struggles that I'm going through trying to push my way to the top and being a person who's trying to follow the incredible trailblazers like Crystal Shawanda, exactly, who um, took me under her wing and helped me go towards this huge goal, and is still going, and it's amazing. And having people like that is really, I guess, what would help me realize that I wanted to do this. So I think the struggles that come with it are a big part of the stepping stones that I'm following, and hopefully make it a little bit easier for other people down the line too.
Yeah, and we know that I was told that you were called the Indigenous Adele. Now we had an Australian artist by the name of Bailey Perry, and she's considered to be the Taylor Swift of Australia.
No way. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
so she's good. Um, how did your classical training at Carleton University shape the artist you are today, Alicia?
Actually, I started classical training when I was about 13 in a arts high school in Ottawa, and it all started because I was in a really bad bullying situation in elementary school, and being, for one, being a plus size person and being an Indigenous person doesn't always help in the making friends world, and I needed something to help me keep on moving forward, and I found music, and so I heard of this arts high school, this program that was something that was very different. And I was like, oh, wow, a place where everyone's different and unique and, appreciated for their differences. But then I found out it was for classical music, mind you. So I did not know that ahead of time. I went in a little blind. I went to a vocal teacher. I was like, hey, teach me Italian. Like, let's figure this out. And I fought like everything, I threw everything I could at this, and learned some Italian, learned how to read music, learned a lot about things. I learned a lot about myself, knowing that I could learn these things. And I ended up falling in love with it. It changed my life being around people who were so determined and so like just driven by their passion to keep on, pushing through, and making school such a priority at such a young age really helped me, prioritize my goals and know that this is what I wanted. So it made me get my Bachelor of Music, and it helped me just keep on pushing through everything. And it definitely helped with like stage presence, but also just in general as a musician, learning like discipline, which is really, I find hard to get in a lot of cases. And it definitely helped me.
Now, I know I mentioned before that Bailey Perry is called the Australian Taylor Swift, but we also have Kat Thompson, who's considered to be the Australian J Lo. So, how does it feel to be called the Indigenous Adele? Like your voice, and like I know you want your own uniqueness. You want to be able to sing um, as Alicia Kayley. You don't want people to say, "Hey, look, she sounds like Adele," or "She sounds like Laura Daigle." You don't want that, right?
Mhm. I it's interesting. I actually started hearing that comment a long time ago when I was like a teenager still posting videos on Facebook, and I never really considered that before. I never really considered that I sounded at all like Adele. I've always used the comparison of like the emotional depth behind it and maybe some styles. I do have a habit of singing a lot of sad songs. I will admit that. So maybe that's like a good push in that direction. But I think I take it mainly as a compliment because I don't think I sound exactly like her. I think I'm able to, have my own twists within my voice and the way I use my gift. And I really actually admire the title that people have given me. I know there's been some mixed feelings about it too, as well in the media. That's been that people, like you said, like you should have your own voice, your own personality, and it's like, well, I don't think it has anything to do with my personality or who I am. I think if anything, it's a nice comparison. That's just to say if I'm anything like her, then that's incredible. But I get to have my own spin on it to make myself my own Alicia Kayley. And people have been saying a lot of different things about it, and I still think it's amazing. I like the comparison. I think if anything, if people are comparing me to her songwriting style, her vocal abilities, I mean, sign me up. And yeah, I love it.
Yeah, sometimes we hear an artist will say you sound like or they sound like or so why do you listen to them? Because they have a good voice or because they sound like someone you really enjoy. So Alicia, you were growing up in Ottawa. So what were some early influences that helped define your sound? And I wonder if Adele is one of them.
I think to an extent, I actually it's very interesting because of my classical background. I never realized this until recently. I had been so used to using a piano accompaniment for performing. I never really considered working much with like guitarists and other people. And especially as a classical musician, you're so used to having like a person play for you a specific piece. It's very, this is how you do it. This is where you breathe. This is, very structured. And so when I came into this world of like pop and R&B, it was like, oh, you don't have to, pick and choose every little detail. You have like full artistic freedom to do whatever you want. Put a trill here, sing a run here, like yell here, growl here, and I think that was the part of the appeal for me is that I think when I grew up in Ottawa, I got to see so many different kinds of music and different kinds of arts that is just crazy. It's just such a diverse community here. I got to grow up in the powwow circle and like hear, people singing at the big drum and hear them perform, and then also hear put things like opera because I grew up with classical music, and then now I'm starting to really admire the blues community and jazz, and seeing all these really interesting differences and how they all kind of come together and a lot of the similarities as well. So I think that really helped me for sure. Is at least it so much diversity around you, I think, is a real big push for artists for sure, especially people like me who love a million genres at once.
How do you so how do you maintain your own unique voice just so people don't, oh, she sounds like Adele? How do you keep that Alicia Kayley voice so people say, "Hey, that sounds like Alicia." That I love Alicia's voice, you know?
It's funny because I I'm trying to think of the right description to call it. I like to say I rough it up. I when I sing my songs, I find that there was one point where every time I would sing a song, I try to make it sound pretty and like make sure it's like nice runs and really like beautiful moments. And then a couple years back, I started realizing the power of like throwing in some grit, throwing in some growling, throwing in some like really like intense moments that really shaped a song and made it feel powerful. Now, some people don't like that, and some people will say that. It's very funny. And like people will put in the comment section on videos like the word I said with like a growl on it and put like a really an angry emoji. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it comes off though, Having those crazy power moves in there, I think, are what make me stand out. But if anything, it helps me feel the music so much more. It feels like unapologetically me, which is what I aspire to be. So I think that helps for sure.
Yeah. So you had two singles, New Beginnings and Don't Break Your Heart. Now, feels deeply personal to you. So what inspired you to release these two songs together as a double?
Well, for New Beginnings, it's actually the first song I ever wrote, and I was terrified of it. I had to strip back a bunch of layers of it afterwards as well, but in order to make it work into a song. And I think that being able to write a song that felt very me, very honest, and yet make it really fun and put that emotion in it, and realize the value of being able to not be incredibly wordy with my words, but show that intention in the actual music is what really sold me on it, on being able to release it. And the song itself was really about being able to not start over, but start fresh from wherever you are in life. And at the time of like, obviously, it was post breakup, and from there, it was more like, okay, I could just start over. And I was so sad about the idea of that. But then I realized that, like, you don't have to start over completely. You're never starting over. There's no reset button, but you could start fresh, use the lessons I learned from those experiences, and use that moving forward to start fresh again, and realizing that that's okay. And same thing for Don't Break My Heart. I loved the idea of having a song that was more just like a powerful, poppy, unapologetically song that you could just like have fun with, and make it passionate. And I love that. I think that's what really made it a fun little thing, and one that comes more from like a really heartbreaking kind of soulful vibe to a party vibe that still has the emotion in it.
So can you walk us through your songwriting process, Alicia? Like, does melody or lyrics usually come first for you?
Think it depends. A lot of cases, I try to sit down and just like, okay, I'm gonna write today. And then half the time it never works, especially if I'm trying to. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I know I have an idea, like this is what I want to write about. And then nothing comes. But then I'll be driving, or I'll be out somewhere, or I'll be listening to something, and out of nowhere, something hits. And then it's either a melody, an idea, a vocal line, a story, something, and it just happens. And like my last song, I was going through some issues with some family members that were going through addiction, and it's a song that's going to be on the album, and I didn't know how to handle it, and I didn't know how to be okay, and I was there listening to self-help books like Mel Robbins, Let Them, and like trying to be
Yeah.
putting myself back in a place where I was okay. And then I realized I was like, you know what? I'm a musician. I might as well find a way to really be okay through it. And being okay wasn't me screaming about being upset, but it was about writing a song that me trying to understand what that person was going through and understand that they're going through their own battle and it had nothing to do with me. So,
Yeah. Do you sometimes, when you're out and about going for a walk or whatever, suddenly you're like, "Whoa, oh, I got a song. I got lyrics." Because I've spoken to some singer songwriters and say they go outside, they look at the clouds, they look at the sun, not the sun, but look where it is, and oh, I have a song, or they're just singing in the car, and they'll, oh wait, bop bop bop, and they take a guitar and
yeah.
they go bop 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 bop, bop, I was one, and then they have a song.
Yeah.
So when you're writing emotional songs, how do you balance personal vulnerability with creating something universal for listeners?
I think it really depends. I personally am a very wordy person. So when I'm writing something, the first draft is like a book. And I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm gonna sing this and it sounds good right now. So it's more or less like this is the full story. Now being able to strip it back and turn it into a summary and then turning it into something that, sounds good and keeps that integrity of the song and the image I have in my head of what I want it to look like. And I think that's the real goal about it is being able to, summarize, be good at that, I guess, is being able to go through, have a whole idea in your head, a whole story, know what it feels like, what it looks like, what it smells like, yeah, everything. And then being able to use those pieces, put them together into something that shapes well, that could be universal for everyone. And that's another thing I really like. I try really hard to make all of my songs like gender free, especially because I want it to be something that everyone can just kind of make versatile for themselves, because I feel like it's just something that it helps, at least for me. I find when people use boy, girl, and like, I find it a little bit harder sometimes to like intentionally like full attach to it. But I like the idea of just like an open idea. You can transfer it into anything you're going through. And I think it also helps because it'll tell you what you're going through. And you realize once you're starting to think like that.
Well, I've heard plenty of songs sung by female artists that men do a great job. For instance, the song by Celine Dion,
Yeah.
"You Are My Lady, I Am Your." Well, what if you sing it, "I'm your lady, you are," so you can interchange it, right?
I
So
have. I've done that a couple times too.
yeah,
Yeah. I find it depends on the situation. And then sometimes though I don't like to change it. I feel like I even though like maybe, like it doesn't the actual like gender terms I'm using at the time won't really apply to me. I like keeping the integrity of how someone wrote a song. So like I'm like, oh, I may not be a man, but I'm gonna sing like I am one today. That's how I am.
yeah, and then you end up with a song by Beyonce called "If I Were a Boy," be like, "I am a boy," you
Yeah,
know.
I am a boy. Exactly.
But however you do it doesn't really matter. But how did working with Crystal Sharwanda and New Sun Music influence the sound and direction of these tracks?
Ooh. Well, definitely a big help because when they found me, I was in a really big rut and I just finished a singing competition and I actually won, which was great, but there was so much backlash afterwards and negativity that I was really lost and stuck in the moment. I didn't really know how to feel about it, and having so much hate was really hard, especially since I was still pretty young. And then Crystal came over and was like, you know what, ignore all that, but I want to give you a chance. So how about you come over here to Nashville and we'll set you up with like a band to figure out like all this stuff. We'll start writing music, throw it together, and you could tell your story. And I thought the idea of that was crazy. I'm like, oh, that's a pipe dream. Like, and then here we are. I ended up going to Nashville and like really putting everything together. And it definitely had some effects of like really nice blues kind of characteristics, considering I used a lot of blues musicians for it. And that's what I think I needed for this, because especially because I'm a pop R&B artist and a lot of what I do is very pop and soulful kind of related. I think the combination of everything made it really really exciting. I will admit, for like a song or two you hear a little bit of twang just because I was in Nashville and my dad likes to make that comment that that's how it came out. But I think it was great having them there for that. They have been the major part in this whole writing process and have really helped me shape my songs into something that's more than just a little song I'm singing in my basement, but into a big song I get to sing on a stage. I finally get to sing a lot of my originals.
Alicia, your sound blends pop, R&B, and soul. Now, how would you personally describe your artistic identity?
Ooh, my artistic identity. Well, whenever I talk about who I am in my introductions for anything, I usually say I am an Algonquin, Tahltan, Northern Shoshone, pop R&B singer-songwriter. And that's my full circle kind of thing because being Indigenous is a big part of who I am. However, there's always this interesting misconception that because I say I'm Indigenous, that people think that all my songs are going to be, in the Indigenous language or, targeted towards being more traditional. And that's not the case. It just happens to be who I am. So I think I am a pop R&B singer-songwriter, well, soulful songwriter, with my Indigenous roots being a big part of just my journey. That's how I identify myself.
Well, that's awesome. So, vocally, your delivery is very expressive. So, how do you approach interpretation when recording versus performing live?
Ooh. I definitely think it gets a little more rough on stage, especially depending on the day. Like I will admit, like right now, I'm at the end of being sick, but I've been having rehearsals like crazy this week and shows. So it's been hard to actually reset. So I'm still sounding a little rough, but I will admit I will use that to my advantage for some gigs as well, because then I can like bring out some Amy Winehouse covers and really just kick it, kick it old school and have it come out really nice. But I think for recording, that's the bigger thing is, for example, this recent recording we did of one of my newer songs, we were trying to record it in the studio and I kept coming off some of the notes and we had to try and like find a way that I didn't make it so expressive because when I sing certain things, sometimes I'll like drag them, almost like slide my notes, and you can't do that in recording. So at least not in a way that it sounds the way it should. So it's definitely different for sure. The emotional integrity is still there, still powerful, still comes out. But then at least then I get to pick and choose exactly how I want it to come out when I have like a full product at the end.
I love Amy Winehouse. There's one song called Valerie, and you would have put an indigenous spin on, be like, "Oh, Jibwa Valerie,
Oh my
Mick
god,
Mac Valerie." No, but
I love
basically,
that.
yeah, I can imagine you singing any song. Actually, now, since you're Algonquin and Tahltan artist, does your identity shape your music and storytelling?
I think it's a part of my journey for sure. So I'm sure it comes out in some ways. Like, um, I don't know. Some of my pieces, like I have one that's called Inside, and it was actually originally I wrote it because I was facing a lot of discrimination and
Oh yeah,
realizing actually that was the song I wrote right when I met Crystal, and it was right after the singing competition happened and people, my own people, were hating on me
yeah.
because they wanted people from their community to win, which is
Wow.
understandable. We all want to root for our own and
Yeah.
want to root for our friends and our family. But in that moment, when you're just a young adult just trying to make it in the music world, and then everyone's bullying you down, it's really sad and really heartbreaking. And so I wrote this song about saying how I'm not looking for fame here. I'm not looking for this big, like my name in huge letters in the world. I'm just looking on at being me, being able to release music, be able to enjoy music, and understanding that just because someone's giving me hate doesn't mean that I deserved any of it, but that a lot of people just have some internalized struggles that they're trying to deal with as well. So you know
This is not about you, but this hate has nothing to do because you're indigenous. You just hate because they're jealous of your voice. They rather have Adele there, not you. I don't know. But why do you think they hate on you? Like I know many and whoever hate, like, oh, I hate this person. Like hate is a strong word.
is
It's
hate.
like I dislike this artist. Why? Then you have to have a reason. If it's because of their voice, why don't you like their voice?
Yeah,
So why do you think they hate on you? Is there any these people that hate on you? Is there anything they like about you?
I think it's a great question I could ask them. Every once in a while, I wonder. I feel like there's different things. Back when the actual competition happened and they were really mad, no one said directly, I hate you, but they would say, terrible things to me, about me, posting things like really awful, like disgusting stuff. And it wasn't great, but it came from a place of, I imagine, because they were upset that people that they were voting for. Like I imagine it's like American Idol kind of vibes where it's like the person you like didn't win. And it's like, oh, okay, you know, it sucks. You move on. Like it's unfortunate. I didn't get to choose that, right? I didn't get to choose winning. So I mean, it was just what happened. But I think, you know, there's only so much you can do about it. You can be able to walk away and just let it be. But I think in that situation specifically, it was more about, you know, the other people in the competition. But as for hate now, which I get a lot of, actually a lot more of it now, I think, being an artist who is like starting to become more seen. People don't like that I'm plus size. People don't like that I'm Indigenous. People don't like that I'm a woman. And it's interesting. And people don't like that I'm proud. And that's been something that's been very, very interesting to see, is the anger that people have. And a lot of the time, when I every once in a while, I used to delete all those comments. I used to be like, I don't want to see the
Mm.
negativity. I don't want to be a part of it. Now I try to understand it sometimes. Every once in a while, I just get a little curious. Like this one person was so rude and saying something about being a bigger person, and just like saying how like was terrible, was disgusting, like all this like hatred. And then I looked at their profile and saw that people were saying that to them. And I remember thinking, like, that's really unfortunate that you feel like because it's happening to you, that you think it's going to make things easier or better to do that to other people and bring them down. And I remember saying that to them, be like, you know, if you ever need someone to talk to, like, I'm here. And I hope that you can figure out and address these issues before, you know, you try to affect other people, because it's like, what's it really going to do for you in long term, you know? And it's interesting. I try to see the perspective of, you know, wherever other people are coming from. I don't imagine they just have hate in their heart all the time. I'm sure some people do. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of really interesting racial things that happen as well. But it's I think there's always two stories. So
Like a sounding board, for instance. You know, you can always come to me to be your sounding board, but sometimes it's like they like those people that say, like you would say, okay, you can come to me to be my sounding board, but who's going to be your sounding board? You know, works both ways.
yeah, exactly.
Now, what responsibility, if any, Alicia, do you feel as a young Indigenous artist entering the mainstream music space?
Responsibility. I do my best to be, ideally I'd like to be a role model, but I also don't want people to think that they have to follow in like the footsteps that I'm going through. But a lot of the time I get invited for gigs in communities specifically for Indigenous youth, to be able to show that message of like, you can do anything. And there's a lot of, you know, back and forth. Not everyone likes that all the time, because they're like, well, you know, why are you giving people false hope? And it's like, who says it's false hope, you know? I know for me personally, I still have a full-time job. I still have a full life, and I maintain a really busy schedule because I want to do this. I want music to be a big part of my life. And it'd be great if I could, you know, be like the random huge pop star and be, you know, like on tour all the time and doing all the crazy stuff. But there's a lot of work that goes into following your dreams. And you have to decide at some point how much it means to you and how much you want it. And I think that's something that I like to talk about, is that following your dream isn't necessarily something that's like a huge like, oh gosh, what if, but it's a matter of taking the steps that you want to get there and being able to really put in that work. And if you really want it, knowing that you can. And in one shape or another, it's possible to achieve in a lot of cases. And I think that that's a big thing, a big part for me of what I want to be able to show people, is that it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If this is something you want, if being able to being an artist or something, you know, then why not take the steps that you can to push towards that?
That's true, Alicia. I totally agree with it. Now, you've spoken about empowering Anishinaabe women and youth. How does that mission show up in your work?
I think just in general, well, like just doing what I'm doing and just being an artist, you know, not being afraid to be me. A question someone asked me in another interview recently is like, what's a piece of advice you'd give? And it's something that I'm still learning myself. And that's to be unapologetically you, being able to be proud, not try to pretend to be anybody that I'm not. People get mad because I say a lot of the time that I am an Indigenous artist, and they're like, "Yeah, we get it. Like, why do you always have to say it? Like, what's the point?" And it's like, because that's who I am. Like, I'm gonna still say I'm a singer. Clearly, I'm singing. I'm a singer, but I'm gonna say it. I'm Indigenous. That's part of who I am, and I'm not hiding anything. And that's something that I've been showing a lot more recently, is that I am happy and proud to be who I am and representing myself in such a positive light. And I want people to be able to take that away from that as well and be able to see that. So I think that's a big thing for me.
Are you full-blooded Indigenous or half, like Keanu Reeves is half Hawaiian, half Japanese?
Well, I'm three different nations, so I guess as full as I can be in my eyes, I am Algonquin, Tahltan, and Northern Shoshone, and they're all First Nation communities, just different places. So one's in Long Point First Nation, one's in Carmack's Little Salmon in the
Mm.
Yukon, and then Tahltan in BC. So yeah, just
Yeah,
different.
yeah, that's true. So what has your experience been like navigating the music industry as an Indigenous artist today?
Different. A lot of doors are closed, and I'm
Oh,
starting to see that. And
wow.
thankfully, I have incredible people, an incredible team that's helping me push those doors open. And I know for a fact that I would not have been able to do that without them. My
Mhm.
team at New Sun Music, they have been such a vital role in what I do and where I am. And Eric, especially, who's been a part of the team and has been amazing and changing my life just with interviews like this, being able to be seen. And one thing that's really difficult in this industry that you don't really get to hear about is there's a lot of cases where like you can't even speak for yourself as an artist. Sometimes is you're being told like, oh no, I need to hear you from your manager or from your label or from your publicist or from someone in order to even just like book an interview or be present in media somehow. And so being able to get those platforms and get like this airtime is really what I think changes the trajectory of our careers as artists. And so that for me has been what really helped.
That's right. I'm gonna say his name, Eric Alper. Hey, this is a shout out to Eric Alper and Crystal Shawanda. Woo, woo. Awesome. So, Alicia, do you feel that the industry is evolving in terms of representation and inclusion, and what still needs to change?
Definitely. I think that we are making some noise in the world and adding so much incredible diversity out there. And I think the power is really coming out. And I think that it's amazing. Like I keep saying, unapologetically you. I love that. You're seeing it everywhere. And I think it's so crazy. I think there's always going to, we always want more. We always want to be heard. And everyone's always going to want to be heard. So I say you just keep on fighting, keep on pushing your way through those doors, take up that space and be proud of it. And just keep on pushing on. And I think that's the thing, is like the only thing I could change if I well, that I would change if I could, is just say, don't judge, be open, be willing to bring people into your spaces, onto your platforms like this. Thank you so much for having me. Like this provides me and someone like me with these opportunities, and it changes and makes all the difference. So just things like this is, I think, what's making all the difference for all of us.
I want to ask you, like, since you're Indigenous, do you ever do the smudging and all the what other Indigenous people do before you
Yeah,
sing, or you do that as part of your culture?
more of a cultural thing. I think that's it's interesting. There's a lot of different things that people ask about that. It's like when I people book me for a show, they'll wonder like, they're like, how Indigenous do you come? And it's like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm brown all the
Hey,
time. Like, is that what
yeah,
you mean?
well, yeah, I know that.
Like,
It's like people. So, gonna make it rain tonight?
I'm like, if someone's
Really? It's
braiding my hair,
ridiculous.
maybe if it's really hot out, or I'm going biking, or I'm going to a powwow, in which case, sure, like I'll show up in my regalia for a powwow. But like, I'm not gonna show up in like my ribbon skirt unless there's a reason. We don't just show up in all our regalia just to look real Indigenous. I mean, I wear like my beadwork as much as I
Hmm.
can. So for me, this is my name tag. I wanted something that really screamed out like, this is who I am. And I also just don't like wearing name tags. So I mean, it's really helpful for me. But I think that's a big thing for that.
Yeah, my friend Armando, his sister Maggie, I've been friends with for years. Her son married an Indigenous girl, and she has grandchildren. And she moved to a little place here. I think you heard of it, Port Arthur, where the Indigenous community
Okay.
is. She lives
Okay.
there, and I'm like, oh. I'm gonna let you in on something. So in the '70s, over here, it's a golf course now. They used to have like little native. Back then, they used to call them Native Indians, but had an indigenous colony there with teepees. And
Mhm.
I was like 6 or 7 years old. My mother and I would go drive past it, just go to the mall there, and I'd be like seeing this and saying, "Look, Ma, do you think John Wayne is in there?" You know, I know I was 7. I didn't know anything. I
That's
thought that
actually so funny.
once you put the headdress on, you're an
Oh
Indian. It doesn't mean
gosh.
you have to be born.
Yeah.
I know because I know exactly what Indigenous people are and how
Yeah.
precious and wonderful they are. Um, do you? I'm gonna ask you something. So there's so many artists out there. So like Susan Aglukark is a great Indigenous artist. You
I'm
ever heard
open
of
to it.
Jeremy Dutcher?
I love Jeremy. Amazing guy. Oh my gosh. Incredibly talented. I aspire to be like Jeremy. Oh.
And here's one for you too. Okay, Tanya Tachak.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, Tagak. I think that's how you spell
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I love her too. She's amazing.
and
Her,
my
I
f-
don't think I have to meet yet in person. Hmm.
and my favorite Ishqui. I think you pronounce it Ishqui.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. I did meet very briefly. Oh my gosh, she's amazing as well. Oh my gosh, there's so many incredible Indigenous artists. Like I finally get to meet now, being a part of this. It's so cool. You get kind of starstruck still.
Yeah, there's this another. I think I forgot to write his name. He's an opera singer, but he's Indigenous.
Oh,
He's really good too.
oh.
So, do you think because they've all brought Indigenous voices into global recognition, how have they, Alicia, influenced or inspired you?
Just doing exactly what they're doing, being able to be there and again taking up these huge stages, these spaces, and being able to be so proudly who they are is amazing in itself. And I think it's so hard to put yourself out there in the world of music, not even just music, but music, art. Like there's dancers, there's so many things that we as Indigenous people do that don't get the opportunity to be seen. And these people that have made it there, I they show us that it's possible. They show us that these are these dreams that we have of being on these huge stages. We know that they're real, that they could be there, they're reachable. Well, no matter how you end up getting there, but being able to see those people in the world, it's like seeing, the artists that you saw as a kid on a commercial or in a magazine, the ones that changed your life, the ones that you were starstruck over, and being able to actually see them in real time going through these emotions of like how you get to the journey, how you get to these huge stages, how you get on these huge platforms to change your whole trajectory is insane. So those are the people that I aspire to be like, and that I really, really commemorate for making it to where they have.
What do you think of Tom Jackson?
Tom Jackson.
He's an actor, but he's an Indigenous actor, like Dude Diamond Phillips.
Oh, okay. I'm really bad with names. I need faces. I was
He's
like
a
immediately listening to
he's an
faces.
older man, but yeah, there's many of them, and also our favorite one. And I'm surprised what happened to her. Buffy Sainte Marie. She's got that really unique voice.
Mhm.
Yeah, she sounds like she's Indigenous Shakira because she's got that kind of like that vibrato in her voice. Yeah, but
Oh,
it's true. She's good. She's good. So, of each of these artists have a very distinct and powerful sound. Like, where do you see your voice fitting within that landscape?
I'd like to say that I'm hopefully going to be one that's different. I don't know if I see myself fitting in exactly. I don't think I sound and like any of them really. They all have such beautiful, distinct voices, but I think I do too. And I think that my voice maybe a little more aggressive sometimes, right? Maybe not in the best way for everybody, but I like to put the soul in there. And like Crystal always says, we don't always have to sing pretty. So I think, and that's the power move in there, right there.
So, let me ask you what you think of this now. So, with AI becoming more present in music production and songwriting, what are your thoughts on its role in the creative process?
I think it can open eyes for sure. I think it helps in some cases, like if you need specifically for songwriting, like things like like say if you're stuck on a word or a synonym and you need to like replace it in order to make a song work to get your point across. I think that's like, pretty normal to do. I don't know how I feel about it actually being used for, writing music because I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Actually, I will admit, I was so sad. I found out recently an artist that I love that I like I've been obsessed with their music lately. They're not real. It's AI. And it kind of like really made me so sad. I felt like I was being lied to.
Well, I don't know
And
if you ever heard Spotify had this band that made like had millions and millions of streams called Velvet Sundown, and I
oh,
found out who the actual guy was. And Velvet Sundown is an AI band,
that's fun.
and also Rick Beato. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a bassist, and he created Sadie Winters. And there's a song now called "Walking Away." Millions and millions of streams of that. Now there's a whole litigation like stealing artists' work just to train an AI and all this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, if the song that AI comes up with is going to get millions and billions of streams, why can't you create a song and write a song that does the same thing? It makes no sense. Does that mean AI is more talented than you are? How about an indigenous AI? How would that work?
Oh my god. I think it's definitely gonna be different. It's kind of weird though, because I always assumed like I still have that old school mindset of like if I hear an AI song, it's gonna sound almost robotic. But oh my gosh, they found ways to make songs sound like bluesy and like really emotional, and it's very confusing to me. I don't like it. I don't like that. I feel like it's actually kind of starting to work in some ways, but I still think there's a huge difference when you hear the way someone writes a song and does a real live band recording. And I think that's something you can't recreate in terms of AI. And I think that's the real difference. Being able to do an in house, full band style type live recording is what really changes the game.
So, do you see AI as a tool, a threat, or something in between for artists like yourself?
I want to say I'm very anti AI, and I am in some cases. However, I will admit that in a pinch of time, if I need a word and I can't find it for the life of me, it's easy to have on hand every once in a blue moon. But I don't like to make it a habit because I think at that point I'm going to start depending on it, and I don't ever want to feel like I have to. I want to be able to sit in the middle of the woods somewhere and be able to just write a song if I need to. It's already bad enough I don't really play a lot of instruments. So I need I need this to stay authentic for me. So I'd say a little more on the thread.
One thing I heard, like, I don't know if you ever heard of Crystal Delgado, but she has the company called Top Music Attorney. She's a music attorney, and some of the things like Udio's being sued. Um, there was problems with Suno, and all it has to do is like they're taking all this music to train the AI and then spitting out this new music, and musicians want to be compensated, but the people that say that are thinking, how do you know that they used your voice and your music to train the AI? Maybe they didn't, and like, isn't that a question you should be asking yourself? Like, how do you know that your music and your voice was used to train the AI? Maybe to them, they didn't even know you were around. Like, I don't know how it works, but sometimes there's some great music from AI, and somebody told me that isn't it true that maybe AI writes better music than the regular, like this song "Walking Away"? Why couldn't some independent artist write that song, and why does an AI have to come up with it? Like, it makes no sense to me.
I think I guess maybe more of like an aesthetic thing too. I think AI is really good at making things sound perfect, but a lot of the time music and like life, it's not perfect. And I think that's the beauty in certain things. Personally, I'm still a sucker for when I hear a song and like you hear like a little like whine on a guitar or like a little thing or like a laugh or like something with the breath control, anything that humanizes it because life is about mistakes. And I think that comes out a lot in a lot of music too, and like real powerful, really you type music. So I think there's some lines in there for sure. I actually didn't know that you could do that though, where you people are adding in their voices. That's crazy to me. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I actually heard two songs by Amy Winehouse, and I found out that there was all AI generated, an AI version of Amy Winehouse, and they put the first 8 seconds of "Hey Jude" by the Beatles in an AI, and it finished the song, but it sounded nothing like "Hey Jude." It's just the first 8 seconds, and then they put it in again, and somebody had used AI to create to finish the 12 unfinished symphony, and finished it and won an award for it. So.
Wow.
I mean, it's possible, but you just train an AI to figure things out. And
Mm.
why don't just say, okay, let's get AI to write a music and then have a band learn it? That's all.
You could. You could. I still think that it's gonna sound a little different in songwriting too, though, because I think AI has a habit of making it sound not too overly structured, but like a full story, I guess, completely like almost perfect. I like for me personally, when I write a song, half the time I can't tell if it's done. I'm like, I get stressed about that all the time because I'm like, when I'm writing, I'm like, I'm not a pro yet. I'm still like, I still got my training wheels on. I'm still trying to make my way through this and find my own style. Whereas AI, what is their style? Is there a style? Is it always going to be different? Are they just using all the information in the world of like who likes what to make the perfect songs that are aesthetically pleasing to the ear, like a TikTok sound where you have a clip of something perfect versus something where it's more like raspy and like kind of off the beaten track.
Yeah, that's very true. Thank you so much, Alicia, for being on our show. Everyone, all her music and everything will be linked down below, including her in the description, and all her music. And if you want to contact her, like, share, and follow her as well. Alicia, as you work towards your debut album release, what can fans expect next from Alicia Kayley, both musically and personally?
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna say probably a lot more gigs. And well, at least I'm hopeful. There's been traveling around a lot. It's been busy and fun. So I hope we get to see you somewhere along the journey. And if not, then try and talk to your communities, your families, your organizations, anyone to try and bring us on out there. We'd love to come and visit. And yeah, I think people should expect to hear some more music, hopefully coming out to everyone. I still like to post like crazy just because honestly, still singing, that's just like my favorite pastime. So you'll see every once in a while a cover I like to put out there because I like to sing a lot. But yeah, I guess just kind of keep tabs on me. I'm always changing up what I want to do. Once in a blue moon, you can see like an old school opera piece that I was working on.
Nice. Thank you, Alicia. Really appreciate it. And your YouTube channel is amazing. Love it. Check out Don't Break My Heart, everyone, and New Beginnings official music video. It's really good. Okay, thank you so much. Oh,
Thank you.
wow. You did Rise Up by Andrew Day. No way. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, everyone, check out our YouTube channel, everything down below. Thank you, Alicia.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate the interview. Thank you for being with us.
I'm here and still waiting. I'm here and waiting for you. I'm here and still waiting. I'm here and waiting for you. Do you remember the light? Do you remember pretending? Do you remember the time that aren't even worth remembering? This don't serve me, I shouldn't have to worry. Just throw it away. To new beginnings, to new beginnings. I throw it away. I've outgrown the liars and I need something real. I need someone close who can feel what I feel. I'm tired of waiting, I'm suffocating. I'm all just waiting for a love I can feel. And this don't serve me, I shouldn't have to worry. Just throw it away. To new beginnings, to new beginnings. Just throw it away. I didn't need you, I shouldn't have believed you. You were just a page, a never-ending story.